Do you remember the story of Lazarus in John chapter 11? It was the miracle where Lazarus gets sick and dies, and then Jesus brings him back to life again. Now, it's a very familiar story I've read many times, but when I read it again just recently, God spoke to me and showed me something that I'd never seen before. He showed me that there are two parts to this miracle. The first part, of course, is when Jesus calls Lazarus to life, and he's resurrected. He walks out of the tomb, and people are amazed and dumbfounded. Well, at that point, it was such an amazing miracle that Jesus could have gone for lunch. It was incredible, the impact it had. But Jesus knew that Lazarus needed more help than that. Lazarus was alive, but still bound. So Jesus told him to take off those grave clothes and set him free. Then God showed me that this was a picture of an awful lot of Christians. When we come into the kingdom, Jesus calls us to life, and our spirits come alive, and we begin our relationship with God. But we come into the kingdom with our damaged personalities, our bad relationships, our bad attitudes, all the lies we believe about ourselves, and all the hurts from our past, which is basically our emotional baggage. We're saved, but bound. Then we join a church with other Christians, and we realize how bound they are, and they have the same problems that we have. And instead of resolving them, we just decide that that's normal because you don't know what to do about it. So churches look like this. But God told me that He wants us to be more than saved. He wants us to be saved and transformed. So Jesus is calling us to life, to enter His kingdom, but He's now calling us to get rid of our grave clothes. But to get rid of our grave clothes, we need to realize, 1, we are bound, 2, we're bound by our emotional baggage, and 3, we need to give God permission to set us free. And so we need to have the wounds of our past healed, the lies that we believed about ourselves removed and replaced with God's truth. And you might need to talk to a pastor, a counselor, or even me about it. But Jesus is calling you to freedom, and He wants to walk you through to freedom, but He's waiting for your permission. So to live a transformed life, you need to come out of your grave clothes, get rid of your baggage, and walk to the freedom that Jesus has already purchased for you. Now I want to hear from you. How has Jesus transformed you and released you from your grave clothes? Just leave your comments in the box below. And if this is your first visit here, you need to get my free self-assessment guide. And to do that, just subscribe to my weekly email newsletter, and you know how to subscribe. The form is right there. And I'll talk to you again next week, but this week, get rid of your grave clothes.